What's going on, everybody? This is Eric from RuleTheWasteland.com. Exactly, just chilling on a Sunday. It's been a while since I've got to make a video on here. I apologize for that. I plan on doing some more in the future. Evening long pig prepper, as usual, once a month. The battle box. The cool thing about this one is it's kind of small, which usually means the items in it are pithy in value because it's roughly the same value in any box. So I like ones that are, I like them all, but the ones that are either really small or really huge intrigue me. And we also have pop leather to show off, which was sent to me. I'll show that later. And then as always, we can take some viewer questions and talk a little bit about the power outages that happened recently. Extensive power outage in New York City, of all places. Yeah, I'm hoping not. There's always a knife. There's always at least one knife in the highest tier battle box knife of the month. So you just don't know what type exactly it's going to be, what other kind of stuff in there. I agree with JJ Johnson of Reality Survival that the boxes have gotten even better once they stopped trying to do themes or like missions for the box, because that would kind of hamstring them a little bit and try to find items that went along with these themes, regardless of whether they were particularly great or whatever. Just have to stick with that theme. So now that they're just kind of doing, not generic, but like a more random assortment of whatever decent gear they can get in the battle boxes, that it is, I think, better. I don't think the other ones are bad by any means. Appreciate it, Brian. Always in good mood there. North Carolina says hello. What's up, North Carolina? So I'm going to go ahead. We got about 10 people on here. It's only been about 2 minutes. I know I didn't give a whole lot of notice on this one, so I want to give a few minutes for people to kind of trickle in and smash that like button. As always, you see, I'm actually liking these Killdozer shirts too. Hilarious stuff. I was curious because I didn't know exactly what the general opinion of the whole Killdozer situation was. And when I made the video about it, making the shirts and everything. So it's interesting to see that most people's opinion kind of falls in line with my own thoughts on the matter. Coconut water, man. If you get the coconut water, don't get the one with the pulp in it, if you ask me. I love orange juice with pulp, but the coconut water pulp is just like hard flakes of the coconut meat. It's very, and then it's just like, I don't like it. But I do like coconut water in general. It's very hydrating. So let's get started, man. Let's see what they got in this month's small battle box. I'm stoked. I've always liked stuff that's been in here. And as I mentioned before, this isn't necessarily the best way to just begin your preps with something like a battle box, but if you have the basics squared away and you want to just have a random assortment of stuff sent to you that you might not have thought of, get a good base of, a knife kind of stockpile and things like that, they're great fun. I've always enjoyed overall boxes. Very rarely is there anything in there that I'm like, that's crap. So let's set this aside for now. This is some kind of denim 9-line. I've heard of that brand, 9-line. I know they do T-shirts and different military kind of related things. It's named after the 9-line medevac. When you do a medevac report, like calling in for a medical evacuation, you have to do a 9-line report, and then it gives them all the information in 9 different categories, like what the landing zone is going to be like, what the injuries are, how many people need to leave, all that stuff is included. I don't remember what the all 9 lines are specifically. I'm guessing this is either some kind of mini med kit or maybe a cleaning kit. I don't know. It's very soft, but it's also denim. It has like more of a civilian look to it. It might fold open and to be some kind of container. Ah, I think I was right. It's folding open. Oh, it's one of those portable bowls. It's got a waterproof liner in it. These are pretty useful for camp situation. If you need a portable water container to like shave out of, you can use it to collect berries, things like that. You can even use it for, dishes or whatever. You could potentially like eat out of this or something, I guess. Probably not ideal for that. But just a general purpose waterproof container. It's a hat. I don't think this is a hat. It would be like a navy. What do you think? Look like a bellhop from like a Wes Anderson movie or something. But thick denim, a little bit thick. I have another example of something like this. Actually, right down there in one of my drawers. This is a similar example of a rubberized one that lays a lot flat. Same sort of thing. But this one is denim, so it has a bit more of a civilian or casual look to it. Pretty cool. So we have 9-line zip open waterproof bowl. Oh, good idea. Dog water bowl. That could be what it's supposed to be. Certainly could be what it's useful for. You go hiking or something, you have a bottle of water, Camelback, something like that. Very easy for people to drink out of that, but unless you want to like pour the water and have the dog drink from the stream and waste a lot of it, you need some kind of container for it. This could be useful for that as well. Crack it open, put a little water in there, let them drink it up. Good point. Good point, Amira, if I said that right. Dog water bowl. All right, what else we got in here? What other kind of goodies? I see something poking out. Bushcraft rape lighter. I'm joking. I think it says rope lighter. But that definitely looks like an A. Tell me I'm wrong. Mongo can't sip through a straw yet. Mongo can't do a lot of things. He's pretty, but he's not smart. Check this out. It's basically a Zippo, but the wick is a rope that you're just feeding up through the top, and it has the striker. I'm not sure what this. Oh, I guess that's just your way of like pulling the wick out, hooking into the wick so it doesn't drop down in there. Very interesting. I'm not sure exactly. It says absolutely can't be blown out. 1 extra wick and 5 flints. Very interesting. Kind of an old steampunky looking thing. I'm imagining you need some kind of oil to get that really going. It says needs no fuel. It is the wick that burns. All I have to do is, okay, you char the top once by applying a match to it. Then it should start with just a spark. So it's almost like you create your own char cloth, rope, and then you just feed that up as it burns. Pretty interesting. Also good because a lot of times Zippo type lighters, unless there's something like the peanut lighter from Meritac or something like that that actually screws shut or has a gasket around it, the fuel will dry up if you let a lighter like a Zippo type lighter sit out for months or whatever. And a kit, not great for kits for that reason because they can sometimes leak or at the very least evaporate. Is it a practical lighter though? That I'm not sure. I'd have to try it. I can tell just by the shape, obviously, that it's would be kind of impractical to carry around in your pocket or something like that, but it is cool looking. Definitely has a classic look to it. Includes the extra rope and the little flints there as well. Definitely cool. Practicality is sometimes relative to what you're expecting to get out of it. It is definitely retro looking. Here we go. Survival mag, improvise, adapt, overcome. I'm not sure exactly what the survival mag. Okay, here we go. So it is 5.56 magazine, standard for should work with most AR-15s. But instead of having a full 30-round magazine, it's a 10-round magazine with some kind of survival kit built into it. As you can see in the bottom half of the magazine actually includes survival equipment. Interesting idea to store it in the magazine. I'm sure that, I don't know if this slides off. Let's see what it says. See if you guys get to see me fiddle on camera with how to open this thing. Retainer clip multi-tool. All right, so they don't tell me how to open this. Imagining I just slide it. Retainer clip. I'm not making that easy. So we see our first flaw in design. It's not very what's the word I'm looking for? Obvious how to open this. Additional feature, storage container can be used for a drip water filter. Includes a 10-round magazine, multi-tool knife. What's up, Jimmy Best? Yeah, California compliant, although you make them think it's not because it's longer. So I'm not sure of the practicality of having your kit stored in your magazine. You might have trouble figuring out which one is which. It's a cool idea, though, or at least an interesting idea. And I'm definitely having trouble figuring out how to open this thing. Yeah, that's perplexing me. I'm assuming I push these pins in and then slide it out. But you have to do both sides simultaneously, I guess. Maybe I'll have to watch a video on this. Make me feel like a monkey banging on a computer. Very strange. Maybe swap the contents for some silver for bartering. Sure, I mean, obviously the idea of having the container there is interesting, but I'm just not sure the point of having it connected to your magazine specifically. Might be a little bit of a gimmick, even though it's certainly useful. And opening it seems to be kind of a chore, unless I'm doing something completely wrong. Definitely not easy. Yeah, I'm perplexed, man. These are really hard to push in by hand. I'll have to fuck with that later. Doesn't give you specific instructions on how to open it. Let's see. This is called the Gotcha 6, I think. Survival magazine. Survival kit magazine. Survival kit. Maybe swap the contents. Use a tip of the bolt to open. Yeah, the thing is, it's got one on each side, and I think you have to push them both in simultaneously. Look, you are alive. Did you see 8 days? 8 days. Why do I not know what that is? 8 days. Put it in a gun. I don't think that's the... Yeah, I'm going to try and watch a video on it here. Or see if they got a video. They have a picture of Monument Valley, which is pretty cool. AR-15 Survival Mag. Here we go. The first review says, got one in BattleBox, poor design, useful in field, almost impossible to open. And then someone else says, received one of these magazines in my BattleBox this month, and I had no issues opening it. Pretty cool, and I'm very happy with it. Already took out, okay. Got this in my BattleBox and still not able to open it. The 2 metal pin clips are near impossible to open. As of now, I would not recommend. So it's alternating between 5 and 1 star, saying difficult to open. Once you get the hang of it, it's easy. This came in BattleBox, and I've tried now for 2 days to open it, but have been unsuccessful. Even gave it to another buddy who's ex-military, and he's unable to open it. The metal tabs are impossible to depress. In an emergency, a person would be SOL if they needed anything in there. Also, why would you hide your survival kit inside a magazine? Yeah, so obviously the key problem here, yeah, derp proof. Yeah, my dad said that once you, if you try to make something idiot proof, they just make a better idiot. See how the tabs are actually below the line of the plastic here. So to push it in, they need to stick out a little bit so you can easily push them in simultaneously. So I will try. I'm not going to spend too much time here fucking with this thing where you guys are all just waiting to see the rest of the BattleBox. But I am kind of determined to open this. So we'll see what I can do. Because it's perplexing me now. Damn. Yeah, you got to open it. Put it in a gun. Very perplexing. I need something. All I'm looking around, all I have are knives. No multi-tools. Well, I don't really need a multi-tool. Really perplexing. So those of you who have just tuned in, they've got this magazine survival kit in the BattleBox that is damn near impossible to open because the tabs don't stick out. So I have no idea. Yeah. Somebody's just got to say you win and give up. All right. Message received. Moving on. What else we got in here? So far, that one's kind of a fail. Shit kit. This is don't get caught with your pants down field toilet kit. Toilet paper, wet wipes, disposable bag, hand sanitizer, single use. These are actually really useful to keep in a car kit, camping stuff, throw it in your bag. And because there's all sorts of times where you might need to, and sometimes not just for going to the bathroom, you know, just cleaning up, extra tissues, things like that. I love having stuff like this. I'm a big fan of those little packs of Kleenex, and I might have those around here somewhere too. Like these, keeping them in the car and stuff. Although they make terrible toilet paper, obviously. So better than nothing, but you know, they're all fuzzy and it's too weak and not tough enough really. So having some extra toilet paper around is useful too. There's also things out there that you can get, which I don't think I have an example of right here, but they're a little bag, not much bigger than this, rolled up that has some sort of powder in it that's sort of not like a cat litter, but it's a liquid absorbing powder. So you can, if you need to take a leak anywhere, even in your car or something, instead of using like a bottle, you can go in this bag, and then instead of having a bag full of liquid sloshing around, this powder absorbs and kind of just becomes like a gel and a solid waste that you can get rid of and not have to worry about it spilling. So good for in your tent at night. You don't have to crawl out in the cold, or in a car trip, something like that, where you're by the side of the road, it's all grass, there's nowhere you can go. You know, if you have a modicum of shame and decorum. So here you can get 20% off the Survival Magazine with this code if you can figure out how to open it. Yeah, the MRE TP packets are a good example of that. They're not bad, and they're about a third the size of one of these. So if you put in, I'm not sure how much. They don't have much in there though. And I don't like, the one thing I don't like about the MRE packets is that the toilet paper is not in a continuous kind of string that you tear in half. It's just an individual square, so it's hard to get a good amount. Don't like actually having to use them, but better than nothing. I'd give these a shot. They're probably better. As always, government-made stuff, it's not always usually going to be too impressive. Usually works. Give the gel to kids and pretend it's slime. Someone else's kids, maybe. Well, then you go to jail for some weird, like, sex crime or something. Give them urine-soaked gel. Guess when shit the fan happens, bathroom etiquette go out the window, I'm guessing. Oh, sure. If it was like a full-on shit the fan, I would just piss anywhere. But we're talking about just normal situations. Camping or minor shit the fans, evacuating for a hurricane, something like that. Here we have a Gerber Suspension NXT. Sweet. Multi-tools are money. Gerber has always made some decent ones. If you actually get the high, you know, the high-end ones. Let's see how much trouble I have opening this. There we go. Haha! First shot. They can take some lessons from Gerber. Oh, this one is spring too, which is nice. Not totally necessary for a multi-tool, because you can just put your finger inside and kind of push it open. But I think having the spring is helpful. Kind of skeletonized handle. Decent sized pliers on there. The pliers, honestly, are the most important part for me of these multi-tools. And what I find using the most often is pliers, some sort of little, and the straight screwdriver and Phillips head screwdriver. And a lot of people end up using I usually have a knife anyway. So obviously the knife blade is important, but I normally also carry a knife. So I have a bigger blade. Scissors. Pretty cool. Bottle opener, always useful, obviously. 2 blades on this one. Always liked Gerber over Leatherman. Yeah, I've had no issue. I've liked Leathermans too. I don't think I've had enough of the different models to make a decisive pick over which is best. But I think Gerbers are the ones that I've used most often. The one we were issued in the military for a while. I forget the model on that one that kind of slides open. I was a big fan of that one. That was Gerber. These have always been great. Gerbers have always been good for me with multi-tools. Yeah, just basic, nothing fancy. I like that. Any of these that have tried to have too many tools in it just end up not doing any of them too well. I like that it's a little bit bigger. Got Yuri's BattleBox. Good deal. The one in the cleaning kit. Yes, the black one in the cleaning kit. Those were I was a big fan of those. I liked the way it opened. Just like slid straight in and out. You didn't have to fold it open. You could kind of do it with one hand or slide it open. And they're about this size too. I don't really like them smaller than this because that handle, you get your whole hand on it, and the pliers are big enough to actually do stuff. You need scissors for cutting the weed. I don't partake, my friend. I'm just not a fan of smoking things in general. But it is legal, I hear, if you want to get into that. and get in the Dan Blazarian business. So yeah, that's cool. Always a big fan of multi-tools. Something you should try to keep with you, and at least in your car if you don't carry one. We had Leathermans in our flight vest. They always pinched when using the tools. Yeah, sometimes handle design depends on how beefy your hands are as well, and the size of it can affect that as well. I've always been a fan of Gerber. Nothing bad to say about Leathermans, but the Gerbers I've been happy with. Exactly. The only smoke I see is from my barrel. I always tell people I only smoke when I'm on fire, which luckily doesn't happen too often. Mantis knives. That sounds cool. Carried Leathermans for 35 years. Yeah, nothing wrong with Leathermans. Absolutely not. They've proven themselves. But I've been happy with the Gerbers I've had too. Ooh, that's a cool looking. Very like kind of steampunk design. I'm not sure what that cog is for. I don't know if this is an automatic opener. That's cool. Look at that. That's really cool looking. It's actually just a liner lock there. So this is, you can use it to open it. It needs to be started, it feels like. There we go. If you push it hard enough, it just opens. Really cool looking design with those moving cogs. Yeah, lever assist, exactly. There's probably some potential for this to get gummed up a little more easily, so it probably isn't fantastic for a field knife, but for a can't have flick knives in the UK. Man, you guys can't have anything. They're trying to chop the ends off your damn kitchen knives. The handle's all metal construction. Relatively open design. Easy enough to clean out, probably. Like I said, the only worry would be if you got some grit or something in there, it might make it difficult to open. I like it. It's cool looking, at least. That's a Mantis knife. Yeah, that is a cool knife. Happy with that one. It's a knife you can carry with it when you're dressed up and not look, you know, not cheapen your look. Have it still be pretty badass looking in a suit or something like that. Appears to be pretty functional. I'd have to look at the specs, look at the steel and all that. I'm not a huge nerd when it comes to different types of steel and everything, which ones are good. As long as I prefer, you know, a little bit of the softness to them and get a better edge, even if it doesn't last quite as long. All right, what do we got here? Bolsas impermeables. I'm guessing that means waterproof bags. 3-pack waterproof pouches. Yes, sir. These are good for all sorts of stuff. Taxing railways, 1700. Yeah, so these are just a very large waterproof bag, and it's got Velcro on there, so you get to the top of your bag, and I guess you just fold it over, and then Velcro it to itself. Open from center, do not pull from sides. Right, so fold it in on itself. These are good for having in your bag if you don't want to have a fully waterproof bag. Put your phone in it and stuff like that if you're going anywhere. There's 3 different ones. I'm not sure if they're all the same size. Probably not. They look like they're different sizes, which is useful too. You can use these for map cases, although the plastic is translucent, not clear. So you wouldn't probably be able to see the map too well while it was in there. And it appears that the plastic is pretty strong. Yeah, there are different sizes, which is cool. This one you could fit like a mini tablet in there maybe. And then we have a 3rd size, which would fit most phones. And this is a really useful one in my opinion, because you can just stick it in your pocket no matter where you're at, slide your phone in there. There's actually some bags you can get where you can use the phone through the plastic as well. Trump has already made this country great again because awesome, handsome white males like Eric exist. Thank you, sir. Yeah, the free college plan for Bernie is there's definitely, the college system is dysfunctional, the college financing system. Right. The problem is nothing is truly free. There's no way to actually make it free. You're just changing who's paying for it and how. What needs to be done, because I do agree that a whole generation of people were basically deceived. I don't want to even say necessarily lied to, but they were deceived or treated unscrupulously with the way the college funding and everything is done. The only way to fix it, though, because you can't, I mean, you can, but if you just literally wiped out the debt, I don't think that's ideal, and it's going to cause a bunch of other problems as well. As also create a bunch of bitterness from people who either didn't go to college and would have if they thought they would have gotten it for free, or people who did go struggled mightily to pay it off over a period of decades and just barely did it or have almost done it. So for me, the solution is simple. You treat college debt like any other debt and allow it to be discharged through bankruptcy. This fixes the problem overnight, because the people who are really in a bad way and have 6 figures worth of debt that they're barely paying the interest on, or not even, they would gladly take the hit to their already destroyed credit, just go ahead and declare bankruptcy. It puts the onus and the actual loss on the people who decided it was a good idea to loan a 18-year-old, 6 figures for a theater degree or photography degree or political science degree or something like that. And because that's the one who was really dumb. And the only reason it wasn't dumb and was actually kind of more criminal was because the government made it so that it was impossible for them to lose on that. Because the people, no matter how bad of a loan that it really is, based on the actual circumstances and the facts of the person's situation, that they can't lose out, because no matter what, that person can never escape from that debt. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's stupid the way that the student loans are treated. It's sort of the same way that medicine and hospitals and everything are allowed to do different business practices than everyone else. And fixing that would fix a lot of the problems with the medical system and everything overnight. And making it so that student loans could be defaulted would fix the problem overnight, because what would happen is it would become much harder to get student loans, which it should be. Because there's absolutely no way that someone should be able to borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars, even tens of thousands of dollars, to possibly get a degree. A lot of people don't even finish their, the actual program and get the degree, but to possibly get a degree that might get them a job, maybe won't even, might get them a job making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, maybe. And there's not even a lot of prospects in this field. Why would anyone loan money in that situation? It's just a bad idea. The only reason they're doing this is because they know they can't lose. But even if it takes this person an entire lifetime to pay it off, they'll just be making payments or whatever. And it's basically the government has made them indentured servants. So that's the bad part. That is the bad part. So it would be much harder to get, if you made it be able to be discharged, they'd be much more stingier in giving out student loans, which means fewer people would get it, which also means fewer people would be going to college. It would drive the prices of college down, because they'd have to compete on price, because no one would be able to borrow to do it anymore. And most of these people that are getting these degrees and not being able to pay them off, it's not helping them anyway. It's barely helping them to have a college degree, and it's certainly not helping them when you factor in the crippling debt that it puts them under. Don't understand getting a degree and having to pay all that money and then not even use the damn degree. Yeah, I mean, obviously it doesn't make any sense. I mean, but I have a political science degree. I went to a state school. I got a Bright Futures scholarship, which is actually, if you get over, I think it was like a 1250 or something on your SATs, and had so many hours of community service. This was in Florida at the time. You got free tuition to any state school. I ended up with a little bit of student debt simply because I didn't have it. I'm a terrible enough student as it was, so I didn't really want to work through school. So all the other stuff beyond tuition, rent and food and all this stuff, I did borrow some money for, which I shouldn't have even done that. I should have probably just worked. And what I should have done even more so is just gone to community college for the first 2 years and then but since I had tuition paid for and everything, it wasn't as big of a deal. And I still am not using my degree. I mean, it's political science. What are you supposed to do? I didn't know at the time what I was even trying to do. That's the big problem. I think people need to stop rushing into it. There's nothing wrong with waiting a few years and then finding a specific field or certification or trade school or whatever that you want to get into, and then going specifically for that, instead of this, I graduated from high school and I did pass a certain point of okay, so then you just automatically go to college. Those days are gone. It's just not automatically a good investment anymore. Especially with the insane increases in cost. Look at how much college has increased in price over the last few decades. It's like hundreds of % increase. So something that made a ton of sense, and that's part of the problem too, is a lot of these people who are, my parents' age, or even older, they grew up in a situation where the landscape was completely different. And it absolutely, basically was absolutely a fact that if you had a college degree of any kind, you were going to make tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars more over your working lifetime than someone who didn't have one. It's not that way anymore, especially because you have to factor in a vastly more expensive price to get the degree. And then a changing landscape where just having a college degree isn't necessarily going to give you a higher paying job anymore. I have a master's in international relations and struggle with finding a damn job. My biggest regret, we have something in common then. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I would encourage people to go to college for now is a very specific, like not necessarily just STEM, but something that has a very specific job prospects and a very specific professional kind of career path. An engineer, a doctor, even lawyers are good right now. You know, there's way too many of them. It's hard to find a job, but something specific like that, like, okay, I can do this one particular job now. And other than that, you would have to have a very specific job you're trying to get. And in general, it's still true a lot of times that there are certain fields that you just can't get without having a degree. They just want you to check the block. Like when I worked at University of Florida, there was a whole field of jobs there, and they weren't great jobs. I mean, these were like entry-level jobs. The jobs were decent, but they were not high paying. But they still, it was a requirement. And we're talking about like a $13 an hour job or something. It was a requirement to have a college degree. So for those, if you're going to do that, then you just go to the Phoenix Online, whatever you go to. I don't know. I'm not endorsing any particular online. I know a lot of those are scams. But just do the community college thing. Get the absolute cheapest, financially cheapest 4-year bachelor's degree in whatever seems remotely interesting to you, because it'll make you be able to study for it better. And you can probably get a bachelor's degree for, I don't know, $10,000 or less. And if that allows you to get these different jobs, then that makes sense. But right now, it'd be much more efficient, even in today when they're starting to make the self-driving cars and stuff, getting a your CDL license, something which probably costs between $5,000 and $10,000. That's going to give you a much more immediate boost in income. You could go get your pilot's license or something. You could go get training in becoming a welder, a pipe fitter, a plumber, electrician, stuff like that. And those are all going to be probably cheaper, take less time, and have much better initial prospects than any sort of just random degree like criminology, English degree, political science degree, something like that. What else in the box? That was it, my friends. That was the last one, was these waterproof bags. So for those of you who came in not at the beginning, the battle box for this month, we got 3 waterproof bags of different sizes. This is the big one. Fold over with a Velcro top, pretty cool. We have a really cool looking mantis knife. Can't comment on the quality or anything of that because I've never heard of this brand, but it feels and looks cool. Has a really cool kind of retro steampunk look to it with some cogs that move with a lever assisted opening, liner lock, metal construction. We have a 9-line denim coated zip open waterproof bowl. Could be used for a dog bowl. I think that's what it's designed for, but certainly you can use it as face washing, shaving, any sort of traveling collectible or a container for collecting things, possibles pouch, whatever you want to call it. We have this very interesting wick lighter, rope lighter, which once you char this, it acts like char cloth and kind of works like a Zippo, but without having to have liquid fuel in there, is what they claim. And then you can, so I'm not sure how practical it is, but it's cool looking, very retro. We have a really nice Gerber multi-tool, which I'm stoked about. Can never have too many multi-tools. Nice kind of full-size multi-tool with pliers, basic tool ensemble, nothing too fancy, which is my preference. Too many little tools is usually inferior to having a couple solid, hefty tools that you actually use frequently. And then we have the infamous Survival Mag 10-round AR-15 magazine with included secret, super secret, super safe magazine or survival pouch in there, which is damn near impossible to open. Yeah, I think the multi-tool's the winner. That knife is cool as well, cool looking. Yeah, but this thing is confounding me, man. I think if I was in the wild, I'd just have to like smash it open to try to get to the contents. Hope I had another magazine that was working. And it's definitely not just me. I'm not sure how you could have such a bizarrely flawed design. There we go. Okay, I think I got it. Oh shit, it locked in again. Oh man. See, as you can see, this is the ring that you have to push in. And you have to push in really far, but this sticks out farther. They got to fix that. They just have to, all you have to do is put 2 little nubs on that. So you can actually, it's not a lube issue. Lube is always important. Never try to use water-based lube either. It just doesn't work. But they need to just make something, nubs or bumps on there that you can actually depress. So let's see what they got. I did get it open. I'm ahead of a few of the people on their website with a with actually being able to open it. So I'm interested to see. Spring latch will loosen up with use just like the wife. And this has some kind of tool on it as well. Bottle openers, flathead, and a little. And everything in there is pretty tightly jammed in there too. I might have to use. This thing has just been a struggle the whole way, man. They're trying to make me. Yeah, thank you. I feel accomplished. I wasn't going to be able to close the live stream satisfactorily if I hadn't got that thing open. I would have been shamed. But we'll use our multi-tool, which I actually am able to open first try. See how those actually stick out? So you can actually push them. Imagine if those were flush with the, well, in this case, you're just sliding them. You're not pushing them, but either way. They're trolling our survival chain. Yeah, they're saying if you can't get this open. So now these were jammed in there, and I'm going to have to pull that out. All right, let's see what we got. We have a little pack of storm matches, windproof storm matches. Looks like 6 of them. Or 5, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not Rain Man. I can't count a big pile of matches instantaneously. And this is your 10-round magazine. Still functions as a 10-round magazine. And here we have our survival kit. Let's see what we got in there. Button compass with a, it actually has a bezel on it, which I'm not sure if it spins or not, or just looks like it. That's why they included it with the multi-tool. It's a neat idea, yeah, since you do need the mags, but I'm just not sure, because I'm envisioning like how you would be using this. You're using the magazine, you know, it's either in the gun or in your pouch. That's not neither place, you know, like in your magazine, you know, pouches here. Neither of those are the best place to be carrying a small survival kit, especially because you would have to remember which one of those has the kit in it. And also remember, not necessarily because you would need to get to the kit very urgently, but if you grabbed a mag that you thought had 30 rounds in it and it only had 10, that could be an issue. Also, if you're talking about a mag or a pouch this size, this is the amount of gear, you can put that pretty much anywhere else. So it is cool and a unique idea, but I don't know if it's better than putting it anywhere else. Just any other pouch on your vest is probably more useful, and then you can actually use a full round magazine. The exception might be for people in California. I also would have actually rather have the extra 20 rounds, where maybe you can't have 30-round magazines, but some of your pouches are for 30-round magazines. You could get some of these, maybe like glue on a little nub on here so you can actually push it open. Because the issue, someone said it'll loosen up with time. The issue wasn't that this thing was too stiff. It's very easy to bend it. The issue was that you have to push it significantly beneath the level of the plastic. So, but once you're flush with the plastic, there's just no way to push it off in there because you're getting stopped by the actual edge of the magazine there. So yeah, so if you could only carry 10-round magazines anyway, then it might be useful, and you could store other stuff in there as well. But what might be better, can you send those tabs out? Yeah, maybe I could bend them outwards a little bit. But even so, it's not that they're, because then it would just start farther out. They still have to go significantly past the edge to get it to unlock. So even if they started further out, I would get to there, and then I would be in the same position and still have to go beneath that. So they'll get the feedback. They should be able to fix that. Simple fix. You just make this with the stick out. That's it. Not hard. I don't know though, because if you made it stick out, then you'd still have to get it to slide. I don't know. Yeah, they'll have to design that a little bit differently. Anyways, we got the button compass in there with the little, you can slide it onto your hat brim or something if you want to. We have a tiny little knife, multi-tool blade thing. Or this just, I'm not sure how that works. Slides open. Pretty simple little knife. Not bad for a mini kit, but probably kind of hard to hold on to. We have some needles. I don't know if that's a mini ferro rod or what that is, the black thing. Mini ferro rods like that are incredibly difficult to use. Wire saw, those are also tough to use if you've never actually tried it. A lot of this stuff, people get up and like, oh, cool, but if you try to do anything serious with this gear. What's up, Caleb? Yeah, glad to be back as well. If you try to do anything serious with a lot of gear, you'll find out the limitations of it really quick. Cotton for tinder, alcohol prep pad. Oh, look at this. A mini, very mini survival fishing kit. Where have I seen a much better survival fishing kit? Dun, dun, dun. But it brings up a good point. I bet I could fit almost all the components of my survival fishing kit in this, minus probably the little multi-tool. Plastic nipples on both sides of the case magnet tag should fix the problem. It would help, I think. Yeah, hold the rod with the EDC tool, strike with the mini knife. Yeah, you could probably do that. Hold it with this thing and put it at an angle and just strike it. So we had the little fishing kit there. And then we got, what else we got in here? A couple Band-Aids. And this is a little wallet with one of these flat multi-tools in it, I believe. Essential or stainless steel credit card multi-tool. Has a little kind of saw, nice aggressive teeth on that saw. You might actually be able to do something with that. Ooh, gotta be careful. That's a blade on that side. More of a scraper though, but you could use it as a blade. Bottle opener, little measurements. You can use this for different size nuts and everything potentially. It's an interesting little idea. Like I said, I think what would be much more practical is to put this little kit anywhere else. And then if you can only have a 10-round magazine, design a 10-round magazine that connects. I don't know what the specifics are of the California law, if that might even be in violation of it, but have two 10-round magazines that connect. So then you can just pop it out like that. And so this is how it slides together. And it just needs to have an easier way of locking because that tab is very tough to hit. So that was it. That was cool. That was the battlbox. Fishing kit also gives you a storage can for tinder, char cloth. The other ones came in. They were inferior to begin with, less stuff, pretty much getting close to the same price. But they didn't. The tin would either be a plastic bag or one of those mini Altoid style tins that don't have a waterproof seal. They barely stay closed as it is. They kind of pop open, things like that. I can't believe Morgan talked me into getting a Silcox key. Yeah, I'd mentioned the Silcox key years ago. But the one who turned me onto it was actually Anthony from Bibles and Barbells, I think, prepping channel. He mentioned Silcox key for turning on spigots and stuff in certain industrial or business areas. Turning off gas, stuff like that. And they're fairly cheap. Good thing to have in a car kit. So I'm a fan of the. So yeah, it's good to see that everyone's pretty much onto it these days. But he was the one who got me started on it. I'm not sure if he came up with the idea himself or if he got it from someone else too. But that's the cool thing about the YouTube videos, is coming up and finding out about stuff like that from other people. Product placement, yeah, shameless product placement. Buy now, everyone, 90% of preppers will die when shit hit the fan if you don't have this. All right, so that was the battle box. Cool stuff. We're 45 minutes. We got 23 people. It's not too bad. This is something else that someone sent me a long time ago, so I apologize to them. It is, I get a lot of emails from people saying, try that, and most of it's crap gear, and I just say no, not interested. But these, it's not even really prepping related, it could be EDC related, but it's something that I'd spent a lot of time on actually trying to find something that works, and that is, this is Popov Leather sent me these. Not getting otherwise compensated, other than I said I'd take a look at it, so they sent it to me for free. But they have some really cool natural leather minimalist wallets and EDC kind of pocket organizers. These things are actually what I was kind of more interested in, because I do use a minimalist wallet that I'm a big fan of, and I've had a couple different variations. I'm unique in the way that I carry a lot of cards and a lot of cash. Not a lot of cash, but I carry cash and a significant number of cards, because I do credit card rewards churning. So depending on what I'm buying, I have a card for gas, I have a card for groceries, things like that. Some restaurants or whatever maybe give me more rotating categories and other things. And I also have, of course, a few like casino rewards cards and stuff like that that I can't put on my Keyring app. Most rewards cards, like library cards, loads cards, anything like that, I have the Keyring app for my cell phone, and you can just store it all there and not have to carry the physical cards. But I have like my VA insurance card. I've got a couple of the casino rewards cards that I need the physical cards for, and then I do carry cash as well for preparedness purposes, and just because in general it's useful to have on hand as well. So most of these minimalist wallets are kind of optimized for either carrying a couple cards and some cash, or just carrying cards, because nowadays a lot of people just carry cards. Losing my internet, so sorry, bro. I'll catch up later. No worries. This will be up on the channel. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Do you have a link for your fishing kits, or want to do an article on my blog? Let me know. Yeah, email me, man. I'll probably forget. Links to the kits will be are in every of my videos. I think at least rulethewastelandstore.com. They're on Amazon as well. But yeah, I'd appreciate that. Just email me at rulethewasteland@gmail.com. And so this, I love this design. But it just doesn't hold enough. And I really like this leather, the natural leather. It's super supple. So this one doesn't work for me simply because I can't put enough stuff in it. If you see how thick this one is, I also like that the zipper keeps anything from spilling out. So you could have put a couple of your most useful cards in there, and then the rest of it won't fall out. That is bigger though. This one is a little bit smaller. So if you don't carry a lot of cash and you only have 2 or 3 cards, I would use it because it feels great. It's so smooth. It smells good too, man. So I like that leather. But I think what's probably more interesting to most of you out there is that is this. And I think Cutlery Lover has mentioned certain, I forget what they call these pocket organizers, EDC. They're kind of useful for keeping certain small things upright in your pocket. If you have something like a regular Victorian Army knife, if you have something like a mini flashlight, which you can put in the elastic here, you can put a space pen in there, even a small multi-tool. This is a little big for this, but the smaller multi-tools or flashlights, or you can roll up different kits and things like that. They go in there, and then this keeps it upright in your pocket. You know, either flashlights, knives that don't have a pocket clip, all sorts of stuff like that. Lighters you can put in there, a cigarette lighter, whatever. And it's really cool. You can even put whatever in here, flashlights, pens, stylus, whatever you want. So the wallet you have, shit, I don't know. This one is called Undivided. I don't have a link. I think I just randomly came across it. And this one is, and it's kind of dorky looking because of the zipper and everything, but it does work for what I have because I just carry so much, but I still want a minimalist front pocket wallet. The big thing is switch to the front pocket. You can't be sitting around with a George Costanza wallet, digging into your ass, getting like fucking crooked up while you're driving. Go with the front pocket wallet. It's also safer because you're less likely to be able to be pickpocketed if you have a front pocket wallet, things like that. So these Popov leather ones, I do really like the leather. So they have other leather products there. Check them out as well. I would probably use this. I appreciate them sending it to me. I just can't fit all my stuff in it. But if I ever need to, maybe if I'm traveling or something and just taking a few things with me, then I would go with that. Because I have all these casino cards and shit that like you know, rewards cards for the casino, because also not only do you get points if you actually do any gambling, but you can get free parking. It used to be here in Vegas that you would get free parking at pretty much all the casinos. That has changed now because it's just getting busier and people are abusing it, and like locals would park at the casinos and then get a much shorter Uber to the airport because it's right there, and leave their car in the parking garage for like a week or whatever. My wallet cost me $10K, but it came with a free Snap-on toolbox. I like it. Yeah, expensive wallet. Cool thing about the tools, though. I have a Harbor Freight tool containers with a bunch of tools that have been slowly collected from garage sales and things like that. But you can get stuff like decent tools like Snap-on or even older Craftsman and stuff like that. That stuff lasts for a long time. So you can get it used and beat up looking, you know, old sockets and things like that for pennies on the dollar, and it still works just as well. And then occasionally, if you need something specialized, you can go buy that at the store. But it's not hard to collect a decent set of tools over a few years for a few $100. And then if you want to spend a 10K, I mean, that's a nice, those Snap-on things and brand new tools are, I'm definitely envious, but that's a lot of money, man. But if you're using it all the time, it can be worth it, because there's nothing more annoying than breaking some Harbor Freight piece of crap and on like your third usage. But they're suspiciously cheap, so it's pretty funny. So yeah, so we've talked about EDC. One thing I wanted to mention, because EDC is usually referenced when it comes to things like more urban survival, is the recent power outages in like Manhattan. Pretty sure it's over now, but it lasted more than 5 to 6 hours in a lot of places. And it just goes to show you that this stuff can happen anywhere. People who are in major cities like that tend to think that they don't tend to think about survival and preparedness, because everything is right there. They're sort of separated from the system support. Everything just works. They don't have the same relationship with the way electricity is generated, the way food is generated, the way someone who lives in the country and does a lot of stuff for themselves, or has to, you know, deal with prolonged power outages and things like that much more often. They don't think about that sort of stuff. But it's actually more important in an area like that because of the dangerous situations that arise when the power goes out. If you live like somewhere like where J.J. Johnson does of Reality Survival, and you can look out his house and you can't see anyone for 20 miles, you're not really going to have to suffer too much when the power goes out if you have a few, you know, minor prepared or preparations made. He has very extensive preparations made, so he's totally set. But, you know, if power goes out and you're sitting there in the dark for a while, it's not a whole lot of bad things that's going to happen other than your separation from emergency service and stuff. If you're in downtown New York City and there's a widespread power outage, things can get hairy pretty quickly. First of all, none of your like water or plumbing might work. If you're in a high building, you be trapped in a dark building. You might not even be able to use something like candles or lanterns, even if you had them, because of the way you're bottled up in a building. There's a lot more people that could get angry and or start resorting to crime, things like that. So it could be a lot more significantly impactful to have something even minor like a power outage in a large city than it could, like, yeah, New York City is scary enough with the power on. It's a wild place, man. I've only been there once. Take it easy, Daniel. Thanks for stopping by. I've only been there once, and I spent 2 days there. You could spend a year there and do different stuff every day, obviously. It's wild. Definitely wouldn't want to live there, I don't think, but it was fun to visit. I'd like to go back. I definitely need my space and my separation from people at least some of the time. I'm not like an introvert who needs to be away from people all the time, but I can't be around crowds of people cooped up in a little apartment and not just be able to drive and park somewhere or go shoot something at some point, you know, make a fire, whatever. I need to have at least a little bit of a yard. That's kind of what I really like about Vegas, is that you have if you want to do stuff that you can do in a big city, go downtown, these huge tourist attractions and everything, casinos, that's all here. But if I also want to drive 15 minutes out into the desert and not see another person and go shoot something, or just drive around, camp, whatever, you know, you can do that too, which is awesome. But you can't do that in New York City. But these are the real world things that you need to prepare for. If you were in that situation and you didn't have any water in your place stored, you didn't have any food stored in your place, you didn't have any alternate source of light, I mean, you're in an apartment and the power goes out, you're going to be in complete and total darkness. You're not going to be able to go to the bathroom. And then once people walk around with their cell phones, which is cool. I mean, people make fun of the whole cell phone like culture and everything, but there are useful tools. And but like the fact that now everyone is carrying a flashlight basically on them at all times, that's a big improvement over the way things used to be. You know, you just hit this, and now I got a fairly bright flashlight, and which a lot of people would not otherwise be carrying. You're carrying a camera. You're carrying a method to communicate with people. And of course, it's possible that an EMP or something could knock all that out. But in the meantime, before the smartphones, people weren't even carrying those things at all. I like little flashlights separate from the smartphone and things like that. Batteries last longer and they're usually brighter. But yeah, if your battery runs out on your phone then, and you're sitting in an apartment and you don't have any alternate means of light, it's going to be difficult even to go to the bathroom. And then can you flush your toilet after the first time? If you don't have any stored water? what are you going to eat for dinner? You know, are you going to wander around in the dark and try to find a restaurant that's open blocks of miles away or whatever? And how are you going to travel back? Subways aren't going to work. Do you have a bicycle? You know, you need to think about these things. If you have medical device of any kind, does it need electricity? Medicines, do you have those? Most of the time, they're going to be like it was, and they're going to not last too long, these situations. But you could still have a lot easier time by just some basic preparations. And that is what preparedness is all about. The whole range of things that can happen, and doing without systems of support, not just the crazy end of the world stuff, which is obviously a potential concern, economic collapse, things like that. But it's not what you want to put the bulk of your mental preparation energies into. It's making sure you can do without the systems of support, from even the minor things up to the serious things. I got a few DN lanterns from Home Depot, and they're pretty good for $13. Yeah, a lot of that stuff is so decent now. I mean, flashlight technology and battery technology has improved so dramatically due to the increases in battery technology and the LED bulbs that you can get really decent stuff for pretty cheap when it comes down to it. And I think I mentioned that in one of my videos on things that it's okay to be cheap on, whereas flashlights are, you can get the lower to mid-tier flashlights are going to do you just fine. You do not have to get high-end flashlights. I mean, this was like, I think 20 bucks for this or this isn't even the Meritech one, this is the Series. But these are, and they have like, they all have multiple options now and everything. It's wild. Little camping lantern and stuff. And for the amount, like this flashlight right here is probably just as bright as the big old D-cell mag lights that the cops used to have to carry. And those, the bulbs could break, the batteries were heavy and expensive, it didn't last very long. And yeah, it's just, the technology is just nothing compared to what it was even years ago. It's just so much better. Defiant brand. Okay, yeah, they've got some good stuff. Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever. And when it comes, unless you're getting the really low-end dollar tier or dollar store stuff, there's not much to these, you know. So they're fairly reliable, and you can just get a few extras. You can whack someone on the head with the D-cell, but you also have to lug it around. So it's better to just carry an alternate means of self-defense and not have to rely on your heavy-ass flashlight. Carry a baton or something if you're that worried about it, and then have a flashlight that you don't have to hold up. What do you suggest for solar battery chargers for a phone? You know, I have one of these solar battery packs, like 20,000 milliamp battery with a solar panel on it. The problem with that is I recommend getting some sort of exterior solar panel that you can then connect to a battery. Because if you look on these batteries, like putting a battery in the heat can actually significantly worsen its life or even destroy it sometimes. And when the solar panel is on the battery, you have no choice but to leave the battery itself in the sun, and you're sort of killing it at the same time you're charging it. Not to mention a small solar panel like that, 3x5 or whatever, it can take something like 40 to 80 hours in the sun to fully charge like a 20,000 milliamp battery. So if you're, you know, hiking out in the woods or something, and you sit it on somewhere all day, yeah, it can be useful. But I think it's a much better idea to get some kind of battery pack that you can plug into maybe one of those roll open solar panels. It's 3 or 4 or 5 times larger of a solar panel, and you can hide the battery in the shade while the solar panel itself is out in the sun, which will greatly increase your battery life. Well, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's also going to work a lot better. I think for the most part, the solar charging things are a gimmick because they're just not going to last. It's too rough on the batteries to leave them baking in the sun for the amount of time it actually takes to charge them with that small of a solar panel. So I recommend, if solar charging is really what you're looking into, get something like a Kodiak or an external solar charged battery and then recharge your items from there, and not try to do the 2-in-1 type thing. That's my thoughts on the matter. Anyone else has any more electrical knowledge on batteries and things like that, let me know what you think. But that's been my experience looking at the whole situation. And if you want to do a little DIY type stuff, you can create your own kind of version of like the Kodiak or Energy Tech or whatever battery for a lot less. You're going to have to, you know, do a little shopping around. But if you buy a solar panel, you buy a deep cycle battery, buy the necessary cables, and you buy some kind of inverter. If you don't want to run everything off 12 volt, if you need the 110 or whatever, then you would need the inverter or charge, maybe even a charge controller, depending on the solar panels probably won't have a built-in charge controller. So 4 or 5 different things you can buy, and you probably be under 500 bucks instead of the 1,500 bucks. that those pre-made kits come in. You'd certainly be under $1,000, and so you're saving $500 or so, and you can chain the batteries together later. It requires a little more knowledge. I'm probably going to try and look around and put a kit like that together myself, let you guys know how it works and which ones I actually used. Maybe it's a lot more difficult to get that stuff to work together than I think, but I don't think so. I know a few people who have a pretty considerable experience with solar power, different types of solar power options, and so I'm going to contact them and try to put something together and see how cheap I can do it. And I think we could save about anywhere between $500 and $1,000 off those pre-made ones and get something that's almost as good and almost as easy to use. But the pre-made ones are definitely a good way to go if you don't mind spending the extra money, just because it's like a click it and you're done kind of thing. You don't have to worry about getting it all to work together or learning how to use it. It's a much more user-friendly probably. But that's my plan, because I think you can do it pretty cheap. With the solar panels in general have gotten so much cheaper and more efficient than they used to be, 10, 20 years ago. It's getting to the point now where if you have the money and you live in a place where you have a decent amount of sunlight, if you have the money, it's guaranteed to be a break even over 10 years or something like that. Yeah, the money you save will pay for another gun. There you go. Or for some bulletproof vests. I'm going to talk more about that soon, because a lot of us have plenty of guns, but most of us do not have ballistic protection. So in somewhere like power outage in New York City, maybe you want to start walking around with a concealable vest on if you don't know how hairy things are going to get. And I've talked before about the Safe Life Defense, which I did a video on their body armor. Super good. The level of protection you get from them for the price is pretty much unbeatable. There's a lot of different options for body armor out there, but Safe Life stuff with the level 3A+, which includes stab protection and a couple really high velocity rounds, like the FN57 Liberty Simple Defense 9mm, they could punch through some 3A. For those vests start at like $4.99 in most sizes. So, and that's for 3A with stab protection and those couple high velocity rounds. And their 3A includes 12 gauge as well, which a lot of 3A does not actually offer 12 gauge protection. So I recommend it. You can wear that, and it's not some super tactical. You can get the tactical carriers if you want to as well, but just the regular concealable carrier, you can put it under a loose shirt or a hoodie or something. No one even know you're wearing it. You're getting a considerably high level of protection for the cost of basically any gun, $500 or whatever. And yeah, then you've got a significant level of protection that other people won't have. Other people might have guns, but most other people don't have the body armor to go along with it. Faceplate armor is interesting. I've seen it, but you have to keep in mind that stopping the projectile is only one part of the equation. The force is still being transmitted. And so if the thing is resting on your face, 100% of that force is going to be still transmitted onto your face. So if you're shot, I mean, it'd be better than being shot without the mask, but you could still have your face crushed, I guess, depending on what it is and how it's resting on your face. But those are cool looking, those bulletproof face shields. Yeah. I think I'm going to do a video on like the 5 or 10 things that people don't know about body armor, because there's a lot of misconceptions, and there's a few specific ones that I'm not going to get into in this video, but a few specific things that people would be surprised to know about body armor. Beats a bullet. That's true. So yeah, we got any question, guys? I've been about an hour, so I'm probably going to call it quits here pretty soon, because I want to actually be able to hopefully make 1 or 2 other videos today that are not live stream, but actually just some of these things I've been mentioning, maybe about the body armor, maybe another sun oven video, maybe about the kind of gold and silver video mentioning Bitcoin and Peter Schiff and some of that stuff. I got a lot of ideas. I haven't been able to, been so busy, man. I haven't been able to do as many videos as I want, so I've got a lot of ideas bouncing around to make. I got to do some more legacy food storage, taste testing. I've got a lot of their fantastic meals here. I'm going to taste test some of those. Just great stuff, man. Great stuff coming up. I got a hilarious video, like a 10-second video that I did when Prepper Princess came to visit me. And got to throw that up on my channel. Good shit. Can paint into a skull. Yeah, you can paint all sorts of stuff. Thanks for info. We'll watch you later. Yeah, appreciate it. If you guys haven't already, just go ahead and click the like button. Helps with the algorithms and whatnot. Check out RuleTheWastelandStore.com for the Killdozer shirts and all that. Thanks, Brian. Always appreciate the enthusiastic support. Thanks for watching, man. Yeah, check out the website. Hopefully I'll have some videos up within I'll probably film today, but I won't necessarily be able to get it edited up later today. But this week, at least, I'll be back in it. I know it's been an entire month. It's crazy how the time flies. I apologize for slacking off. I will do my best to make more fun, creative content in the future. Peace out, guys.